Your best engineers, the ones who build your platform, who you trust the most, might be the reason AI isn't working on your team. Every engineering leader I talk to assumes the problem is tools. Pick the right AI tool, train the team, and watch the productivity go up. That's not what I see. I lead a 20-person engineering team and work with orgs adopting AI. The pattern is always the same. It's not the tools, it's the people you would least expect. 3 ways experience works against you with AI, and what to do about each one of them. Your most experienced engineers are optimized for a game that no longer exists. They've spent years perfecting a specific way of working, debate the architecture, write a detailed technical spec, hand it to a developer, review the output. That process worked, and it rewarded a very deep thinking and careful documentation. AI doesn't break the model, it changes what good preparation looks like. Smart teams assume their existing specs work for AI, but they don't. A traditional spec is a narrative, context, trade-offs. It's written for a human to fill in the gaps. An agent doesn't fill in gaps. It executes exactly what you give it. Give it a narrative spec and you get a plausible code that misses the point. What actually works is more upfront work, not less, but a different kind. You shape the work first, turn a rough idea into acceptance criteria. Then you write an implementation plan the agent can follow. Specific files, specific changes, specific steps to review them. Then the agent executes phase by phase, checking its own work between steps. The teams that skip this preparation and just point an agent at a vague problem, they get vague code, garbage in, garbage out, 10x speed. Here is a concrete example. Anthropic, the company that builds Claude, published how their own engineers build with AI agents. When they gave a solo agent a task with no structure, it produced a broken, non-functional game. Same AI model, but wrapped in a proper system, a planner agent that expands the brief into a spec, a generator that implements it, and evaluator that does the review, built a working product with 16 features. Same model, but a completely different outcome. The difference wasn't the AI, it was how much structure and preparation surrounded it. And smart teams miss this because they assume their existing preparation is good enough. And it's not bad, it's just built for humans. And here is what to try. Take one task your team is about to spec. Before writing the traditional doc, write it as acceptance criteria with a step-by-step implementation plan. File path, expected behavior per step, verification at each phase. Give that to an agent and compare. This pattern, optimizing for yesterday's game, is the first thing we diagnose when working with a team at Team Brilliant. If you are starting to think about this for your org, I'll drop a link below. But here is the harder problem. Even when they run that experiment and it works, they still struggle to change. And the reason is deeper than the process. Your best engineers don't just have skills, they have instincts. 10,000 hours of pattern recognition, how the code should look, how the review should work, how the architecture decisions should be made. That instinct is what makes them great. And right now, it's fighting new reality every single day. Anthropic's engineers found something that captures this perfectly. They wrote, every component in a harness encodes an assumption about what the model can't do on its own. They had built systems with context resets and sprint decompositions, essential workarounds when they've been building for the previous models. But then the models got better. Those workarounds didn't just become unnecessary, they became an overhead that slowed everything down. The assumptions encoded in your process expire as fast as model improves. And the engineers with the most experience carry the most assumptions. Here is where it gets counterintuitive. Your best code reviewers, the ones who catch the most bugs, who maintain the highest standards, are the slowest to adapt to AI-generated code. Because AI code is plausible but unfamiliar. It doesn't look like a code that the team wrote. It doesn't follow the unwritten conventions that your engineers internalized over years. So they slow down. They review the AI-generated code line by line, looking for patterns to recognize, instead of designing the evaluation systems that check outcomes. And here is the interesting dynamic that nobody wants to talk about. Junior engineers often adapt faster, not because they are smarter, but because they have less to unlearn. They don't carry years of assumptions about how things should work. They are more willing to let AI do things differently than how they would have done it themselves. That doesn't mean your senior engineers are the problem. It means you need to give them explicit permission to to question their own instincts. The ones who thrive are the ones that can hold their expertise loosely, trust it when it applies, and let it go when it doesn't. What to do? Sit down with your team and write down 5 assumptions about how AI should work in your codebase, how it should write code, how that code should be reviewed, what it can and can't handle. Then test each one of them. You'll find at least 2 that are already wrong. If you are seeing this on your team, your best people are pushing back or struggling the most, we do a free strategy call where we dive deep into your specific situation. Link in the description. So, they're playing the old game and they can't let go of the old instincts. But there is a third pattern that's the most common and the most fixable. When smart teams adopt AI, they almost always start with the same place. How do I make each developer faster? Better autocomplete, smarter code suggestion, faster individual output. And that's the wrong question. The leverage isn't in the individual speed, it's in the system around the code. And here is why. Anthropic found when AI agents evaluate their own work, they consistently praise the outputs, even if the quality is mediocre. The agent thinks it did a great job every time. Sound familiar? It's the same thing that happens on teams without strong review culture. Code ships, it looks fine, nobody catches a problem until production. Their solution was to separate the agent doing the work from the agent judging it. Independent evaluation. And that's not the AI insight, it's an engineering principle. But smart teams forget it when AI enters the picture, because they're so focused on making the AI writing the code faster that they forget to design the checking. The bottleneck isn't writing the code anymore. It hasn't been for months. The bottleneck is planning, review, QA, and process definition. When you make writing the code faster without upgrading everything around it, you're just flooding the system with more unverified work. And that's not productivity, that's just faster mess. Before your next AI rollout, draw the system, not tools, the system. 5 questions. First, who writes code and who reviews it? If the same person, that's the first problem. 2, can your AI verify its own output without a human check-in? Where does work wait the longest between steps? 4, when something breaks, how fast does the team find out? 5, is anyone updating the AI's instructions based on what goes wrong? If you can't answer all 5, you don't have a tools problem, you have a system problem, and no AI tool will fix that. Okay, so here is what this comes down to. Your smartest engineers aren't the problem, their experience is. They are optimized for a game that's changing faster than their instincts can keep up. They play the old game because it used to work. They can't unlearn because their expertise feels like truth. And they solve for individual speed when the real leverage is in the system. None of that is a criticism, it's a diagnosis. And the fix isn't about replacing your best people, obviously. It's giving them the space to question what they know. If you're figuring this out for your team, where to start, what to change first, how to avoid the traps we've seen, that's exactly what we do at Team Brilliant. Free strategy call, link is in the description. Okay, now you know why smart teams get stuck. Want to see what happens when the team actually pushes through? I documented 6 months of my own team going all in on AI. Real numbers, surprises, all of it.